Hey everyone, Jackuwarz here again. Hope y'all enjoyed another fantasy result coming off a week like Atlanta. Yeah, no need to sugarcoat it, it was rather an uneventful race. Okay, maybe a few things did happen. There's the incident on lap 113 involving Kurt Busch. He would nose into the outside wall and pretty much end his day, and then would become a blemish for all of my rosters except for no Chevy. Kevin Harvick had all kinds of issues, his car not being right where it needed to be. He even had a penalty at one point, being a lap down. But all this really did was set him back to not have any stage points, because in the very end he did get a top 10 finish. But finishing 10th with no stage points, that means only 27 points. For a guy like Harvick, that was a result well below expectations. Then there's the two big names in Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. Both of them at the very end would score well over 50 points. Larson would sweep the first two stages, quickly showing that he was the car to beat all day long. But in the closing laps, Ryan Blaney caught up to him, and then for the last crucial element of my lineups, Brad Keselowski, I had all 5 of my lineups start him, and with the damage to the front of his car, it neglected him from being competitive. So for the remainder of the race after that damage, you would find Brad outside the top 20, and by the end of it, he would have given you only 9 points. So recapping the lineups here, Jackuwarz won. One thing I need to mention about Jackuwarz 1, I did swap out Christopher Bell in favor of Kyle Busch, which gotta say did play to Jackuwarz 1's advantage. It meant a total of 32 extra points from that last minute change. It was a dead heat between either garaging Kurt Busch or Brad Keselowski. I'll instead burn up the Kurt Busch play, simply because of the stage points. That and I hold Keselowski's plays in a lot higher value than I do Kurt's. Both Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch would pick up the slack from Kurt Busch, with alright results once again from Martin Truex Jr. And then there's Kevin Harvick. So despite the Kurt Busch incident, we still got this roster to 200 points. How could that have happened? Yeah, thanks to the bonus picks that kinda elevated that. Besides the race winner and top 4, we got every single one of them right. I honestly wish I could say the same thing about the rest of the lineups, because with Jackuwarz 1, that's as good as it's going to get for last week, as there's quite some heavy casualties in Waste Elliott. Namely, we got the whole issue with Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski here, but add in a mediocre result from Christopher Bell, in a similar fashion to Homestead. And then there's the blown engine from Chase Elliott, which I think really dictated the results for this roster. So Ricky Stenhouse is still giving in good results for Pick Stenhouse. Another respectable 25-point result. Too bad Kevin Harvick sort of matched him with that, and not scored twice as much as he should have at Atlanta. Just like with the last two rosters, you got the Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski in here, meaning either one of them would have bogged down in this lineup. We got 3 of the bonus picks right here, being top Toyota winning manufacturer and the winning team. It's just too bad that I picked the wrong Penske driver to win the race winning pick and the top Ford pick. Both here and Jackuwarz 1 just had to have Keselowski and Logano instead, which neither of those drivers really had a decent day, nor did the both of them finish on the lead lap. Surprisingly, no Chevy did a lot better than Pick Stenhouse or Waste Elliott, more so thanks to not having to play Kurt Busch and instead favoring Matt DiBenedetto, which is silently putting together a good streak of good finishes, and that continued here with 31 points. This lineup by last minute decided to swap out Christopher Bell in favor of Austin Cindric, and really the change didn't affect too much. Both drivers would score around 15 to 16 points. More so I made the change just so I can save a use, because if there's an opportunity where I can save, I'll take it. Maybe I can use the extra Christopher Bell use, like save for the Bristol Dirt Race. Just like with all the lineups so far, and the one next, we got Keselowski in the garage. Looking at the bonus picks, we're looking at the top Chevrolet and top Toyota picks, correct? Really liking the idea of, if I'm not going to have Hamlin in the lineup, just have him in the top Toyota, and he still gives you points. Although instead of Jackuwarz 1, this roster would have scored mad points if Larson could just held on for the lead over Blaney. As this entry, out of all of them, it would have scored my only above 200 result for this week. Alright, Jackuwarz World Network, we're back to mediocrity, aren't we? For starters, yet again, we got the mediocrity from Kevin Harvick's result, and then choosing between either Kurt Busch or Brad Keselowski, which, just like with the other lineups, chose Busch over Keselowski just from the stage points and play value. The key factor between this lineup and Jackuwarz 1 was the point differential between William Byron and Kyle Busch, but more so the bonus picks. Here this lineup loses out on the 10 points by instead going for Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch, which Kyle was not too far off from Denny. If he could have overtaken him, then this lineup would have matched the bonus point total from Jackuwarz 1. It's nice to get 55 points from Kyle Larson, but for World Network, that was its 4th use spent. Now I'm looking at, is there an opportunity where I can start saving Larson? Because there's about 19 races to go. 13 of those I gotta go without Larson for World Network. Truex plays are getting pretty light as well. seeing it as I used its third use, and if this is really all the points Truex can muster here, to really be more considerate with my Truex plays. So for the top 5 drivers from Atlanta, we're looking at Ryan Blaney with the 57 points, 17 of those being stage points. Blaney yet again proving that he can get all them points. Right behind him is the man who finished runner-up to him, Kyle Larson, with 55, being that he swept his 2 stages for a maximum total of 20 stage points. Follow that up with the 35 points from finishing second. Third most points is Kyle Busch at 48. 1 point below Rowdy is Alex Bowman with 47. Finished third on the day with 13 stage points added. And then if somehow you're still expending all them Denny Hamlin plays, really thinking that maybe this is as best as it's gonna get for Hamlin, or maybe you're looking for a good start for sure, and that's your way of doing it, then Hamlin would have given you a respectable 41 points, 8 of those being stage points, and then of course 33 points from finishing fourth. Now looking ahead to the Bristol Dirt Race, I really don't have any driver insight, driver info that I can really show you guys. So instead, just for this week, we're only relying off my tier list and the facts that some of these drivers are specialized dirt racers: Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse, and Chase Briscoe. Your lineups this week should be built around those top drivers. Maybe load up on some blind spot plays like William Byron, Chris Buescher, maybe even Bubba Wallace. He did win at Eldora in the Truck Series one year. And just a hunch, maybe Ryan Blaney. And as for some deep ball plays, I would say Tyler Reddick, Ryan Preece even, Matt DiBenedetto, and Ryan Newman are considerations. If you've only used Alex Bowman maybe once all season, maybe this week might not be a bad idea to try it for only your second start of the season. We're still several weeks away from the next must start for Alex Bowman, that in Talladega 4 weeks from now. And then amongst my neutral play with caution drivers, maybe only consider Kevin Harvick. If you're like me and think saving the plays with him isn't too valuable to you anymore, given his results as of late in Homestead and just last week at Atlanta. Same can be similarly said to Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch. But among those 3 drivers, I'd only start one of them, and then base your lineups more on the top 2 rows. And then as for the avoids, I'd say all the top drivers. I wouldn't try my luck at starting either one of these 5 drivers at the very bottom. Their services might be far too valuable for you to use at the 2 upcoming races after the break at Martinsville and Richmond. Plus, they're not too well known for dirt racing. Alright, so this just in, due to inclement weather, rain, rolling in the Bristol Motor Speedway area, the qualifying heat races for the Cup Series have been cancelled, and so the qualifying order is based off the formula that we've been using, so I'll still be using that to factor into my lineups. So for Jackuwarz 1, the way I left it after practice, Alex Bowman, William Byron, and Christopher Bell all showed very promising speed during that, so I'll take that for this lineup. Austin Dillon is in there for a good dirt track ringer. I'll take Kyle Busch in that 4th starting spot. Plus the momentum from Atlanta, and the fact that his Bristol success from summer, he could possibly transfer into the dirt race. And at 6 uses remaining for Kyle Larson, he won't be in the starters or the garage. I'll instead load him up in the bonus picks. Joey Logano might be a good sneak play, but personally I really didn't plan on having him in the lineup at 7 uses remaining. If you got any more than what I do, then go for it. He could give you a good result. Same goes for Denny Hamlin. Like Logano in the practices, he showed some good promising speed. This might be a rough week for Waste Elliott, just from having to play Chase Elliott here alone. I really don't have too much high hopes for Elliott to do good at Bristol. His chances would have been far better if it was a regular Bristol race. Plus he's also starting in 26th. This will also be my lone start with Kyle Larson, seeing it as this roster has 8 uses remaining. Bubba Wallace will be an interesting play. He'll be starting mid-pack, and besides Daytona and Talladega, this might be the best shot you got at getting a good result for Bubba, either here or Martinsville. Once again, Kyle Larson all throughout the bonus picks, but I got Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex. I think the entire JGR camp is going to be very competitive over who can finish the best over the other, so I wouldn't quite give it to Christopher Bell. Still consider the other 3, which of course includes Truex, which normally Bristol has been a very bad track for him, but seems on dirt he's been much better, just from practice alone. In pick Stenhouse, this is another opportune time to place Ricky. If all goes according to plan, then I would have already spent up half of his uses. Kurt Busch and Chase Briscoe might be long plays, seeing it as they're starting in the fringe of the top 25. I wouldn't recommend playing both of them, but suppose I'll be the one to try that out. If there's one Hendrick driver not Kyle Larson to win this week, I'd try my hands at Alex Bowman, especially for Pick Stenhouse. This is its first time playing him. Even though Chase Briscoe has yet to post a top 15 result here in this season, maybe he breaks through. Still not the safest picks I can have for top Ford, or really any. I think that category is going to be wide open. Just about any driver in that category has an equal chance. For no Chevy, it's going to feel weird not starting any of the drivers that are inside the top 10. I suppose that's what practice will do for you. So to test the theory of how effective knowing practice is, we'll roll with this lineup. For the bonus picks, I personally really don't think Ford is going to win this week. My money is a lot more on Chevy with a hunch of Toyota, but if one is to win, then I think they'll do Logano. In practice, he seems to have gotten things down and could maybe upset the Chevrolets and Toyotas. Jackuwarz World Network will have Ryan Newman, and I'll need somebody to be there at the end. Just like Jackuwarz 1, we got Tyler Reddick in the garage. He outperformed his teammate in practice and could offer the best sneak play of the week. Just like Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney also had a good practice. No, I don't have him in the lineup. I'll have him for the top Ford. To cap it off, we'll have Christopher Bell across the board. So another interesting thing about this race, just yesterday, it was announced that stages 1 and 2 will be extended. So meaning we'll have 80% of the race before the garage picks get locked up, before the green and white checkers at stage 2. So that's my picks. It's going to be wild. This week in fantasy, I'd treat it like Daytona. Protect your big name plays. The race starts at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. There's going to be an off weekend right after this race, so I'll catch you in 2 weeks. Enjoy the race. I'll see you next time.